frankly, our era of jackbooted thugs who can cover their face. Like, just put in perspective, my family immigrated here from Egypt. Both my parents did. And I remember being 13 years old. And my grandmother at the time, I would get shipped off in the summers. I was born and raised in Michigan, but I was shipped off in the summers because my dad really wanted me to understand just the big contrast between the life I was living and the life that he lived. And so I'd go spend time with my illiterate grandmother who raised her 6 of 8 kids to whom she gave birth to, died before their first birthdays in a one-bedroom apartment. And I remember 13 years old, and like, I'm starting to get a little bit bigger now, and she pulls me aside and she says, "You can't talk about politics here." And I was like, okay. And as soon as we went downstairs, I used like the choicest words my cousins had taught me about then President Mubarak. And so I start screaming at the top of my lungs, right? Basically, bad things. I get pulled as my grandmother, like literally tackles me into the corner. She's like, "What did I tell you?"
Yeah, you could end up in a secret prison.
So that evening, I thought we were fine. I was like, nothing happened. I'm good. That evening, plainclothes cops come to the house. They're like, "Where's that boy?"
Wow.
My grandfather sold vegetables in a fish market. Toughest guy I've ever met in my life. I've never seen him afraid until that point. He's like, "Where's your passport?" So he like holds it up. He like brings it. He like literally walks it to the door like this. Like he's an American. And you can't do anything to him. And they left because I was an American. In 1998,
Wow.
my American passport protected my freedom of speech in Egypt.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I remember telling my dad about I was thinking about this run. He said, "You have to run." I was like, "Why?" Last time I wanted to run, he like told me I was going to get killed. I was like, "I got 2 kids this time." He's like, "Well, because for 20 years when I was growing up, I could say nothing. And for 50 years since I've been in this country, I've been able to say anything I want about whoever I want, wherever I want, and not have to worry about anything. And your daughters are not going to grow up in that world if we don't do something about it."
Jesus Christ.
So this is fascism. The difference between arrest and kidnapping is what makes the rule of law. Arrest is when the arm of the state has to tell you who they are, why you're being picked up, for what reason, and you have a right to challenge that. Right now, people who don't have to identify themselves get to pick you up for no reason, and you don't have a right to challenge that. That is kidnapping. The difference between arrest and kidnapping is the rule of law, and we are walking into an America, right? Actively running into an America where authorities can kidnap you. That's Egypt. And that's where we're headed right now.
I just saw this morning. A man in Tennessee, a Tennessee resident, was arrested for posting memes about Trump. One of them said they need to release the Epstein files, changed my mind. Another one said, quote, "We have to get over it." And that was Donald Trump's reaction after the Perry High School mass shooting. And he posted this in a conversation about Charlie Kirk and the fact that the "we have to get over it" thing. I guess somebody called the cops. This guy got arrested for free speech, for literally posting memes.
So imagine, right, like just this last couple months, we've been having this conversation about Charlie Kirk and free speech. Change my mind. And imagine when the answer to change my mind is, okay, we are going to change your mind by force.
Yeah.
In the memory of Charlie Kirk.
And that's where we are. Yeah. I want to ask you about Gaza. So, do you think there actually is this sort of mass awakening happening? Because the political realities have shifted so much, and I feel like politicians are having to wake up to the new reality that the old school idea of like, oh, Israel's our top ally and we have an unbreakable bond and all that, like that, it's not going to fly anymore. Voters are furious. The entire Democratic base believes this is a genocide. We should cut off the money. We should cut off the weapons. We should arrest Netanyahu. Do you think there is a mass awakening happening? And do you have any hope for what's supposed to be another ceasefire and a peace agreement here? I don't want to step on your answer, but I'm a pessimist. I don't believe anything Donald Trump does. He already has done multiple fake ceasefires already. I think it's another ruse where Netanyahu's going to go right back to bombing and killing. But I'll let you answer those things.
Yeah. We've watched a genocide for more than 2 years now. And any end to that is something that should give us hope. You've got hostages on both sides, on the Palestinian side, children who have the potential to go see their families for the first time in years. And that's a good thing, objectively a good thing. The worry I have is that any lasting peace has to be founded on the foundations of justice.
Right.
And history didn't start on October 7th. Before then, you had a 17-year siege of Gaza. Before then, you had a brutal, violent, oppressive occupation. And we have continued to watch as innocent people die. So the worry I have is that while I'm hopeful about the end to a genocide and the stopping of violence, and will always be hopeful for that, is that I do not see the justice on the other side. When someone commits a genocide, we ought to demand on the enforcement and accountability by way of international law.
Right. Right.
And in our country, I am grateful that we're finally seeing a sea change, at least among Democrats, about our posture here. But blank checks to the Israeli military, that seem like they're going to continue. And to me, I think we need to be rethinking what the consequences of that are. Because, look, it's not just Israel. The second biggest recipient of foreign military aid is Egypt. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, as a kid who spent a lot of my summers there, that didn't make the Egyptian people any richer, any freer. It cemented the hands of a military dictatorship against its own people. So I would like us to have the broader conversation about the political infrastructure that allowed this to happen in the first place.
Yeah.
And we can't now, if peace succeeds, turn away from the horrific politics that enabled that genocide in the first place. And so this conversation has to continue. So I am cautiously hopeful, but again, I don't see the justice that I need to see that will finally enable equal rights and self-determination for the Palestinian people and Jewish Israeli people. Like, that's where we need to get to. And that I don't see in this decision, and I don't see in this process. So I'm going to be cautiously optimistic. I'm going to watch, and I'm going to continue to press for accountability and enforcement of international law for the people who aided and abetted a genocide, Netanyahu and his cronies and enablers. And I am going to continue to press that our country gets right on a politics that has enabled this, and the fact that every dollar we send to a foreign military is a dollar we're not spending on our own kids.
And I see a connection, too, between us, funding a genocide and allowing and enabling and supporting and backing a genocide for over 2 years, and some of the horrors and atrocity, not to compare the two, but that we see back home. Because it cheapens human life. It puts a level of barbarism on the table that shouldn't be on the table. It creates a sense and a reality of just might makes right. Like, law doesn't matter. If I have the guns and I have the power, I can do whatever I want to you. And so I see echoes of our support for that genocide, even in what is being done, in Chicago and other communities in the country now.
I really appreciate your point. There's a spiritual consequence to enabling violence. I think you're spot on. It cheapens human life. And the visuals that all of us have been subject to of state power being wielded brutally against people, individuals, civilians, I worry about how that's normalized that. And I happen to think that this administration isn't just trying to normalize putting federal troops on peaceful streets. I think they're trying to normalize visuals. I think they're chasing the visuals of state oppression against individuals. Yeah,
if you see anyone, I don't know if you've seen any of these videos where they're doing some immigration raid trying to grab some random guys off the street, and guess who's following behind the kitted out ICE thugs is a camera guy, also masked up, by the way, to capture the footage, which instantly brought to mind for me the IDF recording their war crimes. Same mentality. And they did that for domestic consumption. Because remember at the beginning of the genocide, there was all this I don't understand why they're recording their war crimes. It's because they get clout and praise for that with the audience that they're serving.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It is, they really care a lot about the visuals and about being able to project this, fascist theater to try to control and try to scare people.
So much of our lives is transacted by way of algorithm online. And the reason that it's so effective is because memes are the way that we structure ideas. And when you take a raid on an apartment building and you set it to commando music, what you're saying is, this is good. This is what government is supposed to do.
Right.
And if you're consuming that casually, aside some cat videos or photos of your best friend on Instagram, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Right? But
Got
you
the
don't.
bad guys. Look
Exactly.
at you. Yeah.
Rather than actually critically thinking about, like, wait a second, is that our government raiding an apartment building in the United States of America? And they understand exactly what they're doing. They have mastered the broader sort of ability to communicate and normalize in ways that we're just catching up on. And frankly, we think that there's still some power in, like, just simply condemning. Right? When they put Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero, why do you think they do that? They want you to connect Hakeem Jeffries to immigrants. You think sombrero, you think Mexican, you think immigrant. And so they're trying to say they're with the immigrants. And of course, racist, wrong, terrible, but effective. Eating the cats, eating the dogs, same story. They want you thinking about immigrants. Their narrative has always been, if you're out of a job, immigrants took your job. Out of healthcare, immigrants took your healthcare. Out of a home, immigrants took your home. We need to start driving our own narrative, and we need to be so much more sophisticated about how we do that. And it's not just simply in what we say or what we condemn, right? It is about the imagery and the way we think about that imagery. And so, the response that we saw, of course, predictably on the left, is like, how racist is that? As if the shame of that is going to stop them from doing something.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just shocked, though, at their capacity to lie. How their whole thing is, oh, Democrats in the shutdown, they're just trying to get health care to illegal immigrants. That's the reason why they're doing it. And then, like, one fucking Google search, and you go, that's not true at all. Like, it has nothing to do with that. It literally has to do with saving health care for mostly people in red states.
Yeah.
77% of the Obamacare subsidies go to people in red states. I don't know, and Chris and I have struggled with this, I don't know how to engage when the other side is just like, everything they say is a lie. It's like that video of Trump and Zuckerberg in that meeting, where Zuckerberg's like, oh, yes, sir, I'm going to invest $7 trillion into the country. And then they had a hot mic moment afterwards, and Zuckerberg goes, did I do it right? I forgot the number you told me to say. And it's like, what is our politics now?
Yeah.
It's all a show. It's all theater. It's all lies. And they feel, like you said, they feel no shame about any of it.
I think, the hard part in this moment is our response to their lying, and they know this, is to try and debunk the lie. And then we get mired in a conversation because then it goes into certain minutia. And I think the answer to their lying is tell the truth better, louder, more often, more compellingly. There is no defense in this modern media environment. There's just offense. So if they're going to wage lies, we wage the truth. And we do it louder with more fun. And the other problem is we're kind of sanctimonious. Like, we got to stop. Like, they've mastered the idea that if you can tell a brazen, evil lie with a wink and a nod, then people are just going to kind of laugh about it, and it normalizes it. And so we gotta take a little note. Yes, is, like, the threat of fascism deeply, dangerously real and makes you want to cry every day? Yes. But, like, if they want to take you to the mud, you got to look like you enjoy being in the mud. You know what I mean? You'd be like, okay, like, if this is what we're doing, fine, right? But I'm going to wage the truth, and I'm going to do it having fun, because this is my lot in life. You know what I mean? And I think we've sort of lost that. And so these folks look like they're having fun. We look really butthurt about everything. And then we wonder why nobody wants to join our movement. Also, we also want to tell you that you have to admit everything you said was wrong, and then you can come, but you also have to agree with my critique, right? And don't join those folks who are marginally different from me. Come join me instead, right? My point is, actually, we can all agree about where we're headed. Let's go build that thing, right? And we want you to join us because we are convinced and empowered by the truth, and we don't pull our punches. We don't accommodate lying or liars, right? We're not bought off. Let's go build it.
Yeah.
And we're having fun doing it.
Yeah. I think Zoran's been a great example in that way. Like, there's so much joy, like, in his campaign. It's so aspirational. It's so, like, yeah, it feels cool. You know, people want to be part of it. It's very hopeful. It's made me miss, very nostalgic for my time living in New York City because, and it's also such a contrast to the Republican narrative about like, oh, all these cities are terrible hellholes where you're going to get, you know, shot if you go out to get a loaf of bread or whatever.
Are you prepared to be, when you win, I'm going to say it like that, when you win, are you prepared to be public enemy number one of the right? Because I see what they do, particularly with Muslim congresspeople. We see what they do to Ilhan Omar. We see what they do to Rashida Tlaib. They are vicious, and they're going to look at the fact that you traveled to Egypt when you were younger, and they're going to say he joined the Muslim Brotherhood when he was there.
They already did.
And he did they seriously?
Laura Loomer's been all over it.
Oh my God.
Late Bloomer has been all over it.
Psycho bitch. She's crazy, that woman. She ate dog food on stream, and she still has the nerve. And she was, did you know she was institutionalized? She was institutionalized. Did you know that?
Not for long enough.
Agreed. But how are you going to deal with that? Because, I mean, these are things, I didn't think about this in the past, but it's true. If I were to get elected to some office, just the fact that I'm white and have blonde hair, I get a little bit more of a pass than any person of color does being a politician.
Yeah. I mean, I consider it part of the privilege. You know, I want to live in an America where it doesn't matter the color of your skin, how you pray, if you pray at all, who you love, how you identify, where you can be a part of this place and you can be a full participant in our politics. And if that means I take it on the chin a little bit more and that means that the next person behind me doesn't, okay. The other thing about it is, you know, like, I like a good fight. I just do.
That's
like,
good. I think
ask
Democrats
anybody
need that.
who's ever known me, I like a good fight. And so part of me is like, I actually enjoy this. I think a lot of Democrats, like, they'll fight if they have to.
They will do it.
They don't want to fight. And if they have to, they're kind of like, right? Like, why do we have to do it this way? I'm like, oh, this is a fight?
It's fun, yeah.
Okay, let's do it. And
well, it's an opportunity because so much of the political landscape is the attention economy.
Right.
So if they want to make you a divisive figure, you can lean into that.
And that's exactly it. Part of me is just like, give me all your attention. And the thing about you're going to get from me is, I don't hide or lie about who I am. So when people see me, they're going to be like, actually, that guy really cares about making sure I have health care. It's really the only thing he's ever cared about as an adult. Like, it's what he's done his whole life. So part of me is like, okay, you want to fight me because I look a certain way or pray a certain way? Ask me what I pray for, right? Like, ask me what I pray for. People don't really pay as much attention to like your name as much as they care about like, do you care about what my name is? Do you remember my name?
Yeah.
And I understand what's coming for me. It's already come for me once. Like, it's been coming for me since I ever stepped into the public eye. And I think my job is just to, you know, there's sort of like, I wrestled in high school and sort of dabbled in jujitsu. Like, the whole question is, all right, if you're going to come at me with this, how do I re-engineer it to just be like, hey, like, you're going to actually turn people in my direction. And my job is to be like, yeah, look at who I'm fighting and what I'm fighting for, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
That's a great
guarantee
answer.
you're going to side with me. So, like, let's go.
I saw Jamal Bowman said recently that he's been in these rooms where Democratic politicians will literally say, like, oh, no, we can't do this thing because then CNN might be upset at us. And we want to avoid any sort of conflict whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. In fact, we've made this point that, like, you need to love it. You need to bask in it. I mean, Trump loves being in front of cameras and wants to try to flip every narrative and go on the offense. And, like, we have almost nobody who does that on our side. And I think that's such an important, that's what a politician that's what it is to be a politician in today's day and age, is like, how can I get in front of the cameras? How can I flip it? And how can I get my argument across?
How can I pick a controversial issue, but that inures to my benefit,
Right.
so that I'm setting the terms of the debate?
And it's not even my benefit. Like, this is the difference. Trump likes a good fight, but it's always about him.
Yep, that's
yeah.
right.
I don't care about me. My job is to be a vessel to get more resources to the people I am responsible for.
Right.
That's my job as a politician. It's my job as a dad. It's my job as a husband. It's my job as a former health director. And so my job is simply to do that, to be able to shine a light on the problems we face and move resources to folks, right? So I'm not doing this because you spited me or you made me sound like, I care less about me, right? I care a lot more about jumping in and fighting for others, right? And so, like, if I have the privilege to show up every day and take hate and turn it into a love for the people in our country, that's a win. So, like, if I get to do that for the rest of my career, like not the best job because I have to like hang out with Chuck Grassley, but like great work. And if we are privileged to do meaningful work, that's what makes a good life. So that to me is what I'm showing up for. And you got to have fun doing it. So
you got to catch a train. I have one more quick question, which is just, do you feel that we're in the middle of like a Democratic Tea Party wave? Because there are a lot of candidates out there who are challenging incumbents or going for open seats or challenging Republicans who are coming at it from progressive side, from the left. You're seeing it increasingly. Do you have that sense?
Yes, there's a moment right now where folks are recognizing that the old way of doing things wasn't working and that democracy is about including all of us. And I think the problem that folks have had with the legacy Democratic Party is that it has been exclusive, like very, very purposely exclusive. And I think a lot of folks are breaking in and saying, you know what, like our politics really aren't anymore about left or right. They're a lot more about people being locked out and the people locking them out. And too often they're looking at the institutional Democratic Party and saying, you're part of the locking out, right? But you're even worse because you're telling us that you're like wanting to let us in, but we just realized that like we'd only ever get into the first floor, right? But the real party's happening upstairs. And I think we're seeing a lot more of that in this moment. I will tell you, I hope we learn some lessons about what we're trying to do. I think the problem with power is you got to use power to deliver back to folks, not just to hold it. And I really hope that this new crop of folks who are stepping in and stepping up understand that question. Our job is not to do the opposite of what the Republicans are doing. Our job is to make sure that this is the people's government and it delivers for the people rather than being the government for one person, one party, one group. For me, like people are like, well, you're a Democrat, so you fight for the Democratic Party. It's like, no, I fight for people. The Democratic Party is potentially a helpful way to do that, not necessarily in the way that's composed right now, but I think it can be a really, really helpful vessel if we find our fundamentals again. And I think that's what we're seeing.
Anybody who has actually helped get rid of medical debt for people, in my book, deserves to be a politician. So we wish best of luck to you and
Appreciate
tell
you.
Everybody how they can help you out, where they can donate to you and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hope folks will go to abdulforsenate.com, follow us on socials at Abdul El Sayed. We try and keep it live, keep it light. I really appreciate the opportunity to share such a broad conversation with you guys and the truth that you guys tell every day. So thank you.
Hey guys, we just had an awesome interview with Abdul El Sayed. He's running for U.S. Senate in Michigan. Is he going to be the next Zohran Mamdani and huge win for the left? Definitely check out the entire interview. It was an awesome interview. That link is below, and definitely support him with his run.